Welcome to Soul Speak Tales, real stories, real emotions, and a new way to learn English. Hi, I am Aliana, and today, I am going to tell you my story. When I was just 17-year-old, life felt like a bright canvas. I had just stepped into college, full of dreams, laughter, and the thrill of growing up. I was often told I was beautiful. Long hair that danced with the wind, eyes full of curiosity, and a soft voice that many said left an impression. But more than beauty, I had hope in my heart, and no idea that love could sometimes arrive in the most complicated forms. It all began in a classroom I never thought would change my life. He was our new literature professor, Peter, a man who carried intelligence like an aura. Tall, with an effortlessly graceful walk and eyes that felt like they read deeper than books ever could. He spoke with elegance, quoting lines from Shakespeare and Rumi as if they were born in his soul. At first, I admired him silently. Who wouldn't? Every girl in my class seemed a little more alert in his lectures, a little more dreamy. I never expected him to notice me. But he did. It started with brief eye contact during discussions, a compliment on an essay I wrote, an extra moment of attention after class. One day, he asked if I would be part of a poetry event he was organizing. I agreed, unsure if it was just a student-professor interaction or something else. He began texting me, late into the evenings. At first, it was about books, life, and art. Slowly, it became personal. He said he felt a connection with me, that I was not like others, that I had depth. And one evening, as we stood outside after rehearsal, under a tree where leaves whispered secrets in the wind, he told me, "Aliana, I think I've fallen in love with you." I was shocked. He was older, wiser, and held a position of respect. I was just a young girl, still figuring out who I was. I rejected him. Twice. But his persistence was gentle, never forceful. He wrote me letters, long and emotional, filled with poetry and admiration. And slowly, I began to believe that maybe this was destiny. That love doesn't always ask for permission to bloom. When I finally said yes, it felt like a dream. He treated me like I was the most precious thing in the world. Long walks around campus, secret meetups, and moments filled with stolen glances. He praised everything about me. My voice, my mind, my heart. He made me feel like I mattered more than anything else. And soon, our bond grew more intimate. He would hold me with such care, kiss me like I was the last poem he'd ever read. I trusted him, gave him not just my time, but my heart, my innocence. I had never known such closeness, never known what it meant to want someone so deeply, and to be wanted in return. But things started to change. His texts became shorter, but his expectations grew. He wanted to see me more often, touch me more often. Sometimes, he would get irritated when I said no. There were days he looked at me not with love, but with hunger I didn't recognize. I felt uneasy, confused. Was this what love was supposed to feel like? Then came the guilt. He would say things like, "If you love me, why do you pull away?" Or, "Don't you trust me anymore?" I started questioning myself. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe I was being too sensitive. But deep down, something didn't feel right. One day, after a heated moment, when I asked him to slow down, he snapped. Not with anger, but with coldness. He didn't speak to me for 3 days. When he returned, he was loving again. apologetic. He brought me books, wrote poems for me again, and the cycle began once more. I felt like a puppet in a play I couldn't control. The love I once believed in now felt heavy, painful, even frightening at times. He started pressuring me, not just emotionally but physically too. And when I tried to resist, he would say, "But we've already come so far, Aliana. Why are you hurting me now?" He never hit me, but there were moments he held me too tight, touched me when I wasn't ready. My tears never stopped him, only made him more manipulative. I was breaking. I stopped smiling. My grades fell. My friends noticed the change, but I couldn't speak. How do you explain to the world that the man you loved, the man who once read poetry to you under the stars, was now the reason you were fading? One night, I sat alone in my room, looking at a letter he had written me during the beginning of our story. It was beautiful, full of love. But as I read it, I couldn't recognize the man behind those words anymore. He was no longer the poet who adored me. He had become someone who took more than he gave. That's when I knew I had to end it. It wasn't easy. He cried, begged, promised change. But I had already changed. I was no longer the girl with stars in her eyes. I was a girl who had learned that love doesn't mean giving away every part of yourself. I left him. And for months, I cried every night. Not because I missed him, but because I missed who I was before him. Now years have passed. I still think about him sometimes. Was it love? Or was it just an illusion? A fantasy wrapped in poetry and charm? I don't have all the answers. But I know this. I survived. I found myself again. And today, by sharing my story with you, I hope someone out there finds the courage to walk away from a love that hurts. Because real love should never leave you wondering if you are enough. It should make you feel safe, whole, seen. And that, my friend, is the kind of love we all deserve. Thank you for listening to my story. This is Aliana, and you're watching Soul Speak Stories. Don't forget to subscribe, and always choose love that heals, not the one that scars.